Chapter 2. The Tragic End of Lila Darn. The hum of the speeder echoed through the darkened streets of Corussant as Jedi Knights Anen Solan and Tamree navigated the winding alleys of Level 1313. The tension in the air was thicker than before, the shadows feeling even more oppressive after Mara Nellen's gruesome murder. They had just finished questioning the few informants willing to talk, but the answers they received were inconclusive. As they arrived at a new crime scene, the familiar sight of flashing lights and a small gathering of curious onlookers greeted them. This time, they were not just investigating a murder, they were diving deeper into a nightmare that was beginning to unravel. Lila Darn, Tamree murmured, reading the reports from a holographic display as they approached the scene. Another victim. It's happening too quickly. Anen nodded, already bracing himself for what he would find. Lila was known as streetwise, one who had survived the harsh realities of the lower levels with quick wit and charm. She was a friend to some and an enemy to others, often entangled in petty disputes among the local gangs. The body lay sprawled in a dimly lit alleyway, partially hidden by the flickering neon signs that buzzed overhead. Lila's pale white skin contrasted sharply against the dull backdrop of grime and decay. Anen swallowed hard, steeling himself against the wave of despair that threatened to wash over him. Tamree knelt beside Lila's body, her eyes scanning the scene with a practiced gaze. "The wounds, they're similar to Mara's," she said, noting the precise cuts that marred Lila's throat and the jagged lines along her arms. "It's the same killer." Anen crouched next to Tamree, examining the marks closely. "There's something ritualistic about it," he noted, trying to piece together the motive behind the brutality. "This isn't just murder, it feels like a warning." "From who?" Tamree asked, glancing up at the assembled crowd. Most of them were too scared to approach, whispering among themselves. Fear had a way of spreading, and it was clear that this new killing had sent shockwaves through the community. "We need to talk to those who knew her," Anen said, standing back up. "Someone must have seen something." As they began to question the bystanders, it became evident that Lila had enemies, but also a network of acquaintances who respected her. "She had a run-in with the Red Sabers gang last week," one young human male said, his eyes darting nervously. "They were looking for her, but no one thought they'd go this far." "Do you know why?" Tamree pressed, sensing the hesitation in the young man's demeanor. "I overheard them saying something about a debt," he replied, fidgeting. "But that's all I know, I swear." Anen exchanged a glance with Tamree, the implications sinking in. A debt could mean anything, from money to favors, and it was possible Lila had been caught in a web of violence that had spiraled out of control. As the Jedi continued to gather information, they learned that Lila had been seen with members of the Red Sabers just before her death, which only deepened the mystery. The gang's territory had been expanding, and with it, their ruthless reputation. "The Red Sabers won't be easy to deal with," Anen said, turning to Tamree as they moved away from the crowd. "They're known for their brutality, and now they're involved in these murders. We need to tread carefully." Tamree nodded. "We should gather more intel before confronting them directly. There's too much at stake, and we can't let our emotions cloud our judgment." Anen sighed, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on him. They had lost 2 lives in such a short time, and the fear gripping Level 1313 was palpable. If they didn't act quickly, it would only get worse. Later, as they returned to the Jedi Temple, Anen and Tamree pored over the intelligence they had gathered. They combed through records of the Red Sabers, piecing together their activities and known associates. "This gang operates like clockwork," Tamree said, her brow furrowed as she reviewed the information. "They're involved in smuggling and extortion, but they also have a brutal way of enforcing their rules." "Then we need to find a way to infiltrate them," Anen suggested. "If we can get close to their leaders, we might uncover the truth behind these murders." "Risky," Tamree cautioned, "but it may be our only option." As they discussed strategies, Anen couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. The killer, whoever they were, was still out there, lurking in the shadows, and Lila Darn would not be the last victim if they didn't act soon. The next morning, the two Jedi returned to level 1313, determined to gather more information about the Red Sabers. They donned civilian clothing, hoping to blend in and not draw attention to themselves. As they moved through the crowded streets, Anen felt the tension in the air as if the very walls were closing in on them. "We should check out the Black Moon Cantina," Tamree suggested, glancing at a nearby neon sign flickering erratically. "It's known to be a hotspot for gang activity. If anyone knows anything about the Red Sabers, it'll be here." Anen nodded, steeling himself for what lay ahead. They pushed through the cantina's entrance, the heavy scent of smoke and alcohol hitting them like a wall. The dim lighting made it difficult to see, but he could feel the eyes of patrons on them, appraising and judging. "Stay close," he whispered to Tamree as they navigated the crowded room. "We don't know who's here." As they approached the bar, Anen spotted a group of aliens laughing loudly, their voices rising above the din of the cantina. One of them caught his eye. Her skin was a deep shade of blue, and she exuded confidence. "Let's try her," Tamree suggested, nodding toward the alien. "She looks like she might have connections." Anen approached the group, focusing on the blue girl. "Excuse me," he said, trying to sound casual. "We're looking for some information about the Red Sabers." The Twi'lek looked him up and down, her gaze sharp. "What's it to you, Jedi? You don't belong here." Anen maintained his composure, sensing the tension in the air. "We're just trying to help keep the peace in this sector. Lives are at stake." "Yeah, right," she smirked, crossing her arms. "You think you can just waltz in here and save everyone? The Red Sabers don't take kindly to outsiders." "Neither do we," Tamree added, stepping forward. "But we're willing to negotiate." The blue alien narrowed her eyes, considering them. "What do you have to offer?" "Information," Anen replied. "If you help us find out what the Red Sabers are planning, we can help protect you and your friends from any repercussions." Her expression softened slightly. "I know some things, but it'll cost you." Anen felt a flicker of hope. "Name your price." As they negotiated, a plan began to form in Anen's mind. They had to be careful. Every step they took could lead them closer to danger. But the only way to uncover the truth was to tread into the heart of the shadows. With the stakes rising, Anen and Tamree prepared to face the challenges ahead, knowing that the killer would strike again if they didn't act fast. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the galaxy far, far away. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. For more exclusive content and to support the channel, check out my Ko-Fi page at ko-fi.com/tales from the Holocron. May the Force be with you always.